Welcome to Expand Your Empire, the podcast where women stop deferring wealth and start building financial power. I'm Amanda Taylor, investor, strategist, and disruptor of outdated money rules. It's time to own your worth, grow your assets, and build a legacy that lasts.
Hey, welcome back, Empire Builders, and Happy New Year's Eve. Today is December 31st, 2025, if you happen to be listening to this a little later. And I am recording it a little earlier because in real time today, December 31st, I am moving. It is moving day on New Year's Eve. And it's a big move for me. I am moving from Colorado to downtown San Diego. So a little different, a new life, a new adventure, very exciting. Lots of big things happening in business, in life. It's very exciting. So we're going to have a new environment for our podcast and lots of great things happening. And so I'm very excited. I don't love moving, so what I'm actually doing today is not super fun, but the whole thing is very exciting. So stick around. We're going to have some fun in San Diego coming up this year and lots of travel on the docket. So again, we're going to be all over the place as we have been over the last few months, which is why I still have this massive sinus infection. We just keep playing the game. But hey, it's New Year's Eve, right? We have made it through the holidays. We are about to walk into a new year, and everyone is doing the thing that we do. Right at the end of December, we're looking back at the year and we're taking inventory. We're asking, did I hit my goals? Did I grow? Am I better off than I was this time 12 months ago? And if the answer is yes, if you can look back at 2025 and say, yeah, we did pretty well. There's this moment of relief, maybe even pride. You didn't just survive, you actually grew. But here's what I need to tell you, and I know it's going to sound completely backwards, but I think the most dangerous place you can be walking into 2026 is doing pretty well. Not broke, not failing, not scrambling to make payroll, just doing pretty well. And I know, stay with me. I have this conversation at least 3 times a week. I ask a woman how her business is going, and she says good, or fine, or we're doing well, we're doing okay. And then I wait. Because what comes next is always some version of this. You know, revenue is up, nothing is on fire, the bank account looks decent, but her voice gets quieter when she says it, like she's trying to convince herself as much as me. And then the real truth comes out, something like, I'm just really tired. Or I don't know how sustainable this is. Or my personal favorite, I feel like I'm holding this thing together with duct tape and sheer force of will. Look, here's what nobody tells you. You can look wildly successful on paper while feeling completely wrecked in real life. And those two things, they are not opposites. They are roommates. They live together in the same house, eating your cereal, using up all your hot water. And if you're listening to this at the end of 2025 and you're thinking next year cannot look like this year, that is not burnout talking. That is your intuition trying to get your attention. That quiet voice saying, you can't just push harder. Listen to her. She knows something. All right, so here's where I'm going to get a little bit ranty, but I promise it is relevant. Women globally carry the majority of unpaid labor. We are talking caregiving, household management, the mental load, remembering that your kid needs to bring a vegetable-shaped historical figure to school tomorrow, all of it. Now, economists have put a number on this, like $11 trillion annually worldwide. 11 trillion. That is not a statistic I'm throwing at you to be depressing. I'm sharing it because that number represents your actual time, your actual energy, your capacity And exactly 0 business coaches factor that into their scale to 7 figures roadmap. So when someone tells you to just scale, just grow, just add another revenue stream, I need to ask you a different question first. Scale using what capacity? Whose time are we spending here? Because here's what I see constantly. Women who are already operating at 100%, not because they're bad at time management or lack ambition. Far from it. They are carrying multiple full-time jobs that only one pays them for. So in that context of work harder, that's not a strategy. It's gaslighting with a vision board. And you know what's wild is the better you get at what you do, the more you become the answer to everything. You're good at work, so clients want you specifically. You're competent at home, so everything defaults to you. You were trusted in the relationships, so you become the person everyone calls when something needs to be figured out. It's like being really good at Tetris, and your reward is that the blocks just fall faster. And if you're too young to remember Tetris, I'm sorry. But I see it all the time. Women who've built real businesses, meaningful income, and actual wealth, but they're maintaining all of it by personally absorbing every single point of friction. The problem is not that you're bad at managing. The problem is the entire structure requires you to keep showing up at this exact intensity level forever. That is not a business model. That is a hostage situation with good branding. Now, here's the thing I need you to understand. That exhaustion you're feeling, it's not a personal failure. That is a structural signal. Your life is trying to tell you something. And what it's saying is this design is broken. Now, I was in Dubai recently for some business awards. It was an incredible event, a incredible place. I was surrounded by a lot of people who've built these amazing businesses, and this was the kind of wealth and influence, it makes you sit up straighter in your chair, right? And during these acceptance speeches, I watched something happen a few times, again and again, and these powerful women would get on stage and they would hold their award, and then they would turn to the camera and they would say to their children, they would thank them, and they would thank them for understanding why mommy had to miss a recital, why she was on a plane again, why she had to work through dinner. And every speech had some version of this to their children. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is beautiful, but it's also completely heartbreaking. Because what we're all collectively agreeing to in that moment is that success costs presence. That wealth is built at the expense of being there. That if you want to win, someone you love has to lose a little bit of you. And so I left that event with this question stuck in my head. What if it doesn't have to be that way? What if the whole goal is to build wealth that doesn't require you to apologize for building it? So let's do some math that nobody wants to do. If women are already carrying this second unpaid shift, then telling us the path to more wealth is more output obviously makes 0 sense. More hours will not create more freedom if time is the thing that we are already out of. More hustle won't create security if we're running on fumes. More effort won't build wealth if the system literally cannot function without your constant involvement. At some point, we have to stop optimizing the hamster wheel and ask if we need the wheel at all. Because here's what I know after working with women at every level of wealth, every point on the continuum: you cannot build sustainable wealth on top of exhaustion. You just can't. Not without it eventually costing you something you're not willing to lose. And yet so many smart, capable, high-performing women stay stuck here because the numbers look fine. Revenue's coming in, assets exist, nothing has exploded yet. but it only works as long as you keep showing up at this exact level of intensity. That is not wealth. That is a dependency with a retirement account. So this is why doing pretty well is legitimately dangerous. It delays the moment when you stop and actually ask, does the structure I've built support the life I want to live? You don't have that conversation when you're drowning. You have it when you finally catch your breath. But if you're doing pretty well, you never quite get desperate enough to redesign anything. You just keep patching and optimizing and pushing through. So the danger isn't that everything's going to fall apart. The danger is that it won't. The danger is that this becomes your permanent normal. You'll be successful and exhausted at the same time for the next 20 years. So let me say something clearly. Wealth has a job description. It should create optionality. It should reduce your dependence on constant effort. If your version of success still requires you to be everywhere, manage everything, answer every question, and hold all the threads, then what you've built is impressive, but it is not done. So this is the shift I want you to sit with as we head into 2026. Not more ambition, but better architecture. Wealth isn't about doing more. It is about designing systems that create value without requiring you to personally power them every single day. That is the difference between earning and owning. Now, when you're earning, your income is handcuffed to your time. You show up, you get paid. You don't show up, the money stops. This isn't bad, it's just limited, and your capacity becomes your ceiling. Now, owning is different. When you own, you've built assets and systems that generate value whether you're in the room or not. You've created leverage. You've designed that optionality into the foundation. Now, most women I work with are stuck in earning mode even when their business looks like it's thriving. Yeah, they've scaled their income, sure, but they've also scaled their workload, their stress, and their dependence on being the central nervous system of everything. So yes, they're making more money, but they're also feeling more trapped. Now, the shift from earning to owning, it's not about working less. It is about designing differently from the ground up. And the question that changes everything is this: how do I build wealth that doesn't need me to personally show up at full capacity every day to keep it alive? So there are 3 specific shifts I see when women move from earning to owning. These are not theoretical, these are structural. First shift, from time-based value to asset-based value. You stop trading hours for dollars and you start building or acquiring things that appreciate or generate income on their own. This is intellectual property, real estate, equity, business systems that run without you, assets that do the heavy lifting. Now, the second shift, it's from personal capacity to structural capacity. You stop being the bottleneck. You design the processes and then you delegate strategically. You build an architecture that doesn't require you to be the answer to every single question that comes up. And the third shift is from reactive financial decisions to intentional wealth design. You are not just managing cash flow, you are designing wealth strategy with specific outcomes. That freedom, time, sovereignty, optionality. You know what you're building toward and why. Now, these shifts take time, but they start the moment you decide that doing pretty well is not the destination. So let's paint a picture, because I think we talk about wealth in ways that feel abstract and disconnected from real life. So when you have sovereignty, you make decisions based on what's right for you, not what you can afford to do. You say yes to things because they align with your vision, not because you need the check. When you have time, you're not in constant reaction mode. You have space to think. You can be with your family without 14 tabs open in your brain. You can take a week off and nothing implodes. And when you have optionality, you're not locked in. You can pivot, you can experiment, you can walk away from things that don't serve you without spiraling about money. This is not fantasy. This is what happens when you stop optimizing what you've already built and start designing what you actually want. So I'm going to give you some questions. And I want you to not answer them quickly. I want you to sit with them. Let them be uncomfortable if they need to be. Where are you using effort to cover up for lack of structure? What parts of your success would fall apart if you stopped being available 24/7? And if you designed your wealth strategy from scratch today, knowing everything you know now, what would you build differently? And this one, what would it look like to build wealth that lets you be present instead of constantly apologizing for being absent? These are the kinds of questions that lead to actual change, not in 5 minutes, but over time. More wealth should not mean more responsibility piled into an already full life. It should mean more choice, more breathing room, more ability to be present in a life you're actually living. So if you're doing pretty well right now, I want you to consider that maybe you're not at the finish line. Maybe you're at the starting line of something more intentional, something designed for how you actually want to live, not just how much you want to earn. And then the work I do is helping women build these wealth strategies that create freedom, this time and sovereignty and optionality, not the wealth that costs more than it gives back. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, this is me, it's not because something is wrong. It's because you're ready to build differently. And that's exactly the conversation I want to keep having with you. I built Expand Your Empire because I no longer want women to sit, not even sitting, we're running that hamster wheel constantly and killing ourselves to earn our way into wealth. But I want us to build the structure and the architecture to own our way into wealth. And we can do that if we build it strategically and we learn all the ways to do that and we get aligned in how we want to do it. So these are the conversations we are having inside of our community, inside of our masterminds, inside of our workshops. How do we move along that continuum from earning to ownership? We've still got the wait list open for the Wealth Continuum. We've got lots of new things coming in the new year to come together to have classes on this stuff, because it's not just about knowing that we need to be doing it. It's how do we do it? Where do we start? What's next? So make sure you get on the wait list. That's in the show notes. I hope you have had a fabulous holiday season. I hope you have the most amazing New Year's Eve and start to the next greatest year of your life. I will see you back here in 2026. Until then, keep building.
If this lit something up, share it, review it, and get in the room. Join the Expand Your Empire community and start turning wisdom into wealth. You're not too late, and you're not doing this alone.